and welcome back to the next episode of Tilly. I'm your host, Marissa Zeppieri Caruana. A lot of you already know me as Lupus Chick. Tilly is brought to you by the Lupus Foundation of New England. Every Tuesday night, we talk to someone in the chronic illness community. It can be a patient, caregiver, someone in the medical field. You can go back into our video library. We have over 60 episodes. And today I'm really excited to bring someone that I know you're just going to love and probably going to want to go follow afterwards. Viktoria is here with us today, and she's going to share her lupus journey. So I'm going to kick it over to Viktoria right now. And Viktoria, for anyone here online that hasn't met you before, I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your journey.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Viktoria. I'm a lupus warrior and I'm based in Illinois. I actually just got married last August. I love playing the guitar. I love singing. I love watching shows on Netflix, such as Grey's Anatomy. And yeah, that's it. So.
Aw, I love that you're musical. That's awesome. So yes, Viktoria did just get married, and later on she'll share her Instagram platform because there's an absolutely beautiful spread about your wedding in, I believe it was the New York Times, right?
Yes, we got featured in the New York Times.
That was amazing. Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous, and it was a great story. So congratulations on that. So I would love if you could kind of go back a little bit and maybe share, like, growing up, when you first started to see symptoms and what those symptoms were, and take us through that process of the length of time and what it was like to actually get diagnosed.
Yes, so I was actually diagnosed in 2016, but I started showing symptoms 2 years before that. What happened was I had joint pains and pleurisy, and that was the first symptoms I had. My mom rushed me to the emergency room, and the doctors didn't really think much about it, so they just discharged me. A year after that, I showed symptoms again, pleurisy and joint pain. But then the doctors looked at me and said, "You're just, a healthy teenager, nothing's wrong with you." So I got discharged again. But the year after that, when I started developing fevers and joint pain and pleurisy, that's when my mom actually decided to bring me to another hospital and in this city. And that's when they figured out that they did more lab tests and figured out that I actually have lupus. So my diagnosis took 2 years, and it was a rough one, but we finally got the diagnosis. And at first, when the doctors told me that lupus has no cure, it was such a surprise. And no one in my family is diagnosed with lupus. It's just me right now. And I didn't really know anyone with lupus, so I did not know what to expect. But I had my family with me, and I just kind of learned about the disease as I lived my life.
Right. Well, I know you have a very supportive family because they were with you recently. So you talk about like that 2 years where, you were sort of just sent back, from the hospital. And unfortunately, that happens a lot, obviously, with chronic illness. And I know that you were younger. So what was that like, being in school? I believe were you in high school at that time? And just not feeling well. And were you like, did you ever think to yourself, like, what's going on? All my friends are healthy. Something's not wrong. Something's wrong, but they're telling me there's nothing wrong. So like, what was that like for you to be a teenager and sort of dealing with that?
Yeah. So when it was hard, because I remember fainting in gym class, and, my classmates would be just fine. And I thought to myself, is something wrong with me? Because I would faint. And I kept thinking, maybe I just have to eat more breakfast or maybe I'm just tired. But when doctors tell you there's nothing wrong with you, you believe them. That's when I just didn't think much about it and think, oh, maybe I just need to exercise more because I'm out of shape, or even though I was like 90 pounds or something.
Right.
But yeah, it was really hard when you're dealing with health problems and you're not getting the answer you need. So you just live your life blindly and not knowing what's triggering it and making it worse. So, yeah.
Right. Well, so when you were actually diagnosed and you were in the hospital, what was like that next year or two like? Because I see just from your Instagram, like you obviously had some major medical issues going on. If you
Yes.
are comfortable sharing some of those, and what was that recovery like?
So I was diagnosed in 2016 when I was already in college. And I actually had to drop out of school when I got diagnosed because I had to stay in the hospital for 9 days. And there were a lot of changes at that time. I just wasn't sure how lupus is going to affect my life. Like what I said, I didn't know anyone before with lupus when I got diagnosed. And when the doctors discharged me, I went from not taking any medications to taking a bunch of medications. I remember taking more medications than my grandmother, actually. And I gained so much weight because of prednisone, that one medication. Yes, I gained so much weight because of prednisone. And aside from being diagnosed, I also had to deal with people's mean comments about my appearance. They would tell me, "Oh, you don't look like Victoria. You're getting rounder and rounder every time I see you. What happened to your face? Are you pregnant?" So there was just a lot going on aside from my diagnosis. And I had to adjust my life. And also dropping out of school was also sad in my part because I didn't want to do that, but I was forced to because of my diagnosis. Fortunately, I was able to go back to school the next semester, but it was just such a huge change in my life because I had to learn new things about my diagnosis, what triggers it, what makes it worse, and I have to avoid those things so that I would not have any flare-ups. I actually was diagnosed with lupus nephritis as well. I had to go and I had to have a biopsy to know like how bad my lupus nephritis is. And fast forward to 2016 to 2018, it was me managing my disease, learning about it. But then in 2019, I was diagnosed with Stevens-Johnson syndrome or toxic epidermal necrolysis, which is also another autoimmune disease. And it was, I believe we read studies about it, but I think it's also related to lupus because I'm at an increased risk of developing the disease because of lupus. So in 2019, I was rushed to the emergency room thinking it was another flare-up, but it was actually an extreme allergic reaction to a medication where my skin blistered off and also my organs started to, what was happening on the outside was also happening on the inside. And that resulted to me being in a medically induced coma for 1 month, stayed in the hospital for 240 days. I had to learn how to walk, talk, and eat again, and also had hair loss and 3 major surgeries.
Well, Victoria, that is, I only knew a little bit about your story. So it's just, first of all, I'm so sorry that you ever had to go through all of that, and being able to meet you in person a couple weeks ago and seeing just your advocacy. I mean, you've done incredible things through something that was horrific. So I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you are helping so many people because what you went through was horrible. And I hope that nothing like that ever happens to you or anyone ever again. But, I have to ask, like, going through something like that, what really changed for you? I know you were, younger, but just like, as far as like life perspective, what changed for you coming out of that? And is there a specific way that you saw, like today, that you live your life differently than you did before any of that happened?
Yes. So with my perspective in life really changed after that. Um, for example, I am more appreciative of little things right now. When I was learning how to walk and talk and eat again, I realized how blessed I am to be able to do small things like that. Um, I was learning how to walk up the stairs and thinking, oh my God, I took this for granted before. And now when I walk up the stairs, I keep thinking about that day where I had to learn again at 23 years old, walking up the stairs and thinking now I'm super blessed just being able to get out of bed on my own, go to the bathroom on my own, dressed by myself. And because I was totally dependent on other people back then. That's one thing that I've learned throughout my journey. Taking life one day at a time is really important. Sometimes it's so hard to look forward and to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But looking back at my journey right now, I have made it this far, and it's just there's just so much I've been through, and I'm thankful for that I've survived. And yeah, those are just some of the things that I've learned throughout my journey.
Yeah. Well, you truly are a warrior, because that is just an enormous journey to go through so young. And now you're working and you have this incredible advocacy platform. And I would love for people to be able to follow you and learn more about you, because you really are just such a sweet soul. And I know that they're going to fall in love with you as well.
Thank you.
So first, I'm just thankful that you came on to TILLY and shared. I just want to ask you, before you share where people can come and follow you, for anyone listening that maybe is newly diagnosed or going through the diagnosis process, even especially those who are in high school or college, what's one piece of advice that you would want to give them?
So find the people who will be there to support you. Sometimes I am lucky. I acknowledge that I'm blessed that I have my family and friends to support me, but sometimes it might not be them for you. This is why you have to take advantage of social media. You can find a lot of support groups nowadays, and people who are going through the same thing as you. Take advantage of that. There's a lot of ways you can connect with them, and you will be misunderstood because of your diagnosis, but know that there are people out there who will understand you. And that's why you have to look for them, because your support system will definitely make or break your journey.
That is 100% facts spoken from Viktoria. Absolutely. And there really are so many amazing advocates and support groups online, compared to 10, 20 years ago, that, depending on what your lupus affects or where you live, your age, like there's someone out there for you. I truly believe that. And so you reach a lot of people on Instagram, and I would just love to know any platforms that you're on, if you could share them with the audience.
Yes, so I'm also on TikTok, and my username is the same as Instagram. So I'm actually sharing more of my story on TikTok, and just offering support and also letting people know that they're not alone in their journey.
That's awesome. So it's the same name for both platforms, and what is that handle?
It's just Viktoria 03.
And Viktoria is with a K, everyone, not a C, which I love. Oh, Viktoria, I'm so glad that I got to meet you. And thank you for coming on, TILLY, and sharing your story. And I wish you the best of luck as a newlywed and in all your new endeavors that you're doing. So thank you again. And thank you everyone for watching me and Viktoria tonight. And definitely come back Tuesday night for another episode of TILLY. And we will see you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Marissa.